CBS 13 is on your side at 11.
First tonight at 11, the state's Government Oversight Committee now looking into how DHHS handled the case of a double homicide in Chelsea involving a teen in foster care. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Greg Lagerquist. Now, this happened in June after a teenager allegedly stabbed and killed two people with whom he was living. CBS 13's Julia Simone has tonight's new details.
I know that the pain of the survivors is real.
Christopher Honeywell and his son Tyler were stabbed to death in their home back in June. A male teenager in foster care who was living with them at the time is accused of killing them. A shocking crime that is fresh in the minds of people here.
It was surprising to me that something like this would happen, close by. I never figured that, it would happen. Yeah. It's scary in a way, you're right here and things like that happen.
Since the suspect was a foster child, he was involved in the Department of Health and Human Services. Some lawmakers say this incident is the latest in a long line of mistakes the department has made. Specifically, lawmakers want to know why the Honeywells weren't told about the teen's long mental health history before they agreed to foster him. They also say caseworkers weren't able to get him psychiatric care due to no beds being available, even after the teen allegedly wrote that he planned to kill the Honeywells.
The tragedy that unfolded disturbs me to my bone marrow. The fact that it happened to people, a family in the district that I represent here in the Senate, is obviously a very personal thing.
Lawmakers hope the work of the Government Oversight Committee will prevent something like this from happening again.
So I'd like the facts so that we can move forward and make sure that nobody else dies in this state. In situations like this where it looks like people were told and that a lot of people knew that this young man had some very serious issues.
At this time, a court date hasn't been released yet for the juvenile male suspect involved in this case. In Chelsea, Julia Simone, CBS 13 News.
A father who beat his young daughter to death now waiting to see if his conviction could be overturned. The New Hampshire Supreme Court heard arguments today in Adam Montgomery's murder appeal. Now, he's accused and convicted of beating his 5-year-old daughter Harmony to death in December of 2019. Last year, Harmony's stepmother, Kayla Montgomery, tearfully testified she witnessed Montgomery killing Harmony and hiding her body in bags for months. Montgomery's defense argues that Kayla Montgomery was not credible. Montgomery was also convicted of assaulting Harmony months earlier, something Montgomery's attorneys are not contesting. The justices pressed Montgomery's attorney on that.
What's the significance of the two different states of mind between the July assault and the murder, the reckless murder?
I'm not sure what...
In terms of this analysis, does the state of mind of the two different criminal acts have any bearing on our analysis for joinder?
I don't think so.
The defendant did have extreme indifference to the value of her life. He did not treat her the way that a father is supposed to treat a 5-year-old daughter. He treated her like an object of inconvenience.
Now, the justices did not announce a decision today or say when they could make one. Montgomery was sentenced last year to 45 years to life in prison for Harmony's death. A missing teen is safe tonight after she went missing for 8 days. Deputies say that a 13-year-old girl from Pownell was kidnapped and found last night in Portland. The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office says she was in an apartment along Brighton Avenue in Portland, more than 20 miles away from her home in Pownell. Now, also in that home was a 23-year-old man named Elijah Coleman. Deputies say Coleman did not live in that building or have any permanent residence. When a SWAT team arrived at the building last night, Coleman was said to have walked out of the building without incident.
After a week, it became very important that we locate her and make sure that she was safe. Time is not on our side with these cases in most situations, so we have to jump on these right away and get to work on them to identify where these people are, who they're with.
Now, the relationship between the suspect and the teen remains unclear tonight. Coleman was previously wanted for domestic violence charges. He was arraigned this afternoon on several charges, including kidnapping, criminal restraint, and endangering the welfare of a child. All right, let's get a first check on our forecast now with Chief Meteorologist Charlie Lopresti. It's been feeling more fall-like this week, certainly than the early part of last week. Tomorrow, though, sounds like it's going to be a cool down.
That's going to be the big story, Greg. Absolutely. I think tomorrow is going to feel very, very fall-like. We're tracking some clouds moving in, cooler temperatures are moving in, and it's going to be very windy tomorrow as well. In fact, the wind is probably going to lead our weather headlines. There are some showers off to our north, up into New Brunswick and up into portions of Quebec as well. This will be rotating around into our region tomorrow. So there will be some showers in northern Maine, eastern Maine, and some of these will sneak, I think, into central Maine and mid-coast Maine. You may get a passing shower. Snow showers are expected in northern parts of Maine and in the mountains. You see some of those snow showers there. It's actually been snowing on Mount Washington for the last 6 hours tonight, and they've had some icing up there. So I think when the clouds do eventually break, we're going to see some white mountaintops later this week and into the weekend. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. Areas to start with some sun will be mainly cloudy by afternoon. So I think clouds will win out and the cooler temps will win out as well. We're in the 30s for lows tonight. It's pretty quiet tonight. Tomorrow, look for highs in the low 50s. There will be some spots that have a hard time getting out of the upper 40s for daytime highs. So tomorrow is going to be a seasonably cool day. And a pretty windy day. That 20, 21 mile per hour wind, that's sustained winds. We're expecting gusts 30 to 35 miles per hour. I can't rule out a few scattered outages. It's not going to be widespread, but some of the weaker branches, they can break in winds like this. Winds tomorrow, they're out of the north around 20 miles per hour with higher gusts. Expect a lot of clouds during the afternoon. Low 50s are expected. Some inland areas, you'll have a hard time getting out of the upper 40s. We're tracking highs closer to 60 as soon as Friday. How long that hangs around, that weekend forecast, and when to expect some steady rain, that returns at the 7-day in a few minutes. Greg, over to you.
All right, thank you, Charlie. The Supreme Court's conservative majority signaling it could reconsider a key portion of the Voting Rights Act designed to prevent racial discrimination in drawing up congressional districts. As Sherelle Hubbard reports, the court's decision could ultimately have major national implications ahead of the 2026 midterms.
Voting rights advocates held a rally outside of the Supreme Court Wednesday.
The people, united, will never be defeated.
Inside, Supreme Court justices heard arguments over race-based redistricting in Louisiana. Louisiana's congressional map was adopted last year to include a second black majority district out of 6 total, to coalesce with the fact that African Americans make up about a third of that state's population. A group of white plaintiffs argued state lawmakers had impermissibly considered race in violation of the 14th and 15th Amendments. The Supreme Court's decision will almost certainly be felt nationwide.
I hope that the court writes a decision that is firm, that is airtight, and that forecloses any future challenges on those lines.
The Voting Rights Act of 1965, signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson, was designed to address racial discrimination and election policies. Wednesday, Justice Brett Kavanaugh signaled some skepticism about the continued need for what he called race-based remedies.
This court's cases in a variety of contexts have said that race-based remedies are permissible for a period of time, sometimes for a long period of time, decades in some cases, but that they should not be indefinite.
Justice Sonia Sotomayor stressed at one point that race has traditionally been used lawfully in the redistricting process. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Now, with the government shutdown continuing, now said to hit the 16th day, lawmakers on Capitol Hill don't seem to be any closer to resolving this. The Senate again voting down a GOP-backed temporary funding bill. That's the 9th time that's happened as Democrats continue to push to extend health care tax credits before those expire. Republicans, meantime, arguing the government needs to be reopened first before they talk about that, and that they would take up a separate vote on health care after.
People get sick. People will lose their insurance. People will die. Plain and simple. Republicans know this, and yet neither Trump nor congressional Republicans are even trying to solve the health care crisis.
I think the American people are wondering when the Senate Democrats are going to end their temper tantrum and vote to reopen the government. Every day that this goes on, the problems are compounded for federal workers and for ordinary Americans.
The Maine Senator Angus King, an independent, again voting with Republicans to reopen the government. Meantime, Congresswoman Shelley Pingree, a Democrat, said today that Mainers are deeply worried about the effects of the shutdown.
It's the cost of food, it's the cost of housing, it's the cost of childcare. It's already the increasing costs of the experiences in their lives. Everything in their daily lives are going up. And then they're saying, how can we trust this government? Every time we turn around, they've cut something that's a vital service to our state, whether it's education or environmental funding or our transportation grants. It's unpredictable. They're worried about them messing with the next election. So people are worried about everything from the fundamentals of democracy to the cost of the food in the grocery store.
Meantime, a federal judge blocked President Trump's plan to lay off thousands of federal workers during the shutdown, saying that move is unlawful and that the firings were politically motivated. President Trump has said he does plans to cut Democratic programs amid this ongoing shutdown. Still ahead after the break, a startling report saying 100 million jobs could vanish in the next decade. Why artificial intelligence is to blame and the sectors most at risk of being phased out. Plus, severe weather creating major damage in Alaska. How one Mainer is organizing efforts to help.
Tonight, Colbert's all new. We got a humdoozy of a dinger with Anderson Cooper.
There are many forms of patriotism, and telling the truth is one of them.
CBS Tonight.
This is eye-opening. A new report from Axios says that roughly 100 million jobs could vanish in the next decade. The vast majority of those will come from sectors like fast food, accounting, and even trucking, to be replaced by artificial intelligence. Angela Brown looks at the numbers.
A quick check of the headlines tells the story. Axios, 100 million jobs could be eliminated by AI. The biggest targets, fast food workers, accountants, and trucking positions. CBS News found that entry-level corporate jobs for new grads have dropped 15% since AI hit the scene. John Bowerman, self-taught developer and co-founder of Stealth Consulting.
So if you're learning coding at college, don't just think about how am I going to apply code, but really understand what is the theory behind how this code works. Because that is much, if you understand the theory, then you can use whatever tools are available to be able to apply it in the future.
But leading in AI isn't just an economic issue, it's a global race. A new plan released by the White House identifies more than 90 federal policy actions to expand AI development and governance.
We need one common sense federal standard that supersedes all states, supersedes everybody, so you don't end up in litigation.
On Capitol Hill, Senator Bernie Sanders released his own analysis, warning AI and automation could destroy nearly 100 million U.S. jobs in a decade. But not everyone sees AI as a threat. Some argue the real danger is falling behind.
The tech race with China is really, really important. They're ahead of us in a few categories. I would say robotics is one. We're fortunate that we are ahead of China right now in terms of AI software.
In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
New tonight, a former Lewiston police chief has been nominated to become Maine's next US Marshal. David St. Pierre, who served the city of Lewiston for 30 years, just retired from the force last month. The White House announcing his candidacy earlier today. Senator Susan Collins expressing her support for that nomination, writing in part, quote, his steady leadership during the most challenging moment in Maine's recent history, the tragic mass shooting of 2023, demonstrated his professionalism, composure, and deep commitment to both public safety and public service. Now, St. Pierre's nomination now goes to the Senate for approval. If he is confirmed, he'll be on that role now for 4 years. Well, one of the largest airlifts in Alaskan history is underway right now, evacuating hundreds of people from storm-ravaged areas along the coast. The remnants of a typhoon brought a record storm surge that just swept away homes, some with people still inside. Thousands of people were living in makeshift shelters. Tonight, they're being airlifted out of that area, and a Mainer is on her way to help. Wyndham's Ruth Lathrop is a Red Cross volunteer. She's helped victims of natural disasters all over the world. Now, over the weekend, at least 51 people and 2 dogs were rescued from some of the flooding there. Some of them plucked right off their roofs by helicopter. Now, earlier this year, the Trump administration did cancel a $20 million grant that was going to be used to protect that area from flooding. Let's get another check on our forecast with Chief Meteorologist Charlie Lopresti. We're in for a chilly day. Windy, as you were saying too, Charlie.
Yeah.
Certainly by the standards we've been getting used to, it's going to feel cold tomorrow.
Yeah, it was just a couple weeks ago, Greg. We're in the mid-80s, so it's a far cry from that tomorrow. Air temps right now are in the 40s. Not terribly cold yet, but it's breezy. Notice 6,000 feet up in Mount Washington. It's 21 degrees. It's been snowing up there for the last 6 hours, and they have some icing, and they'll get more snow showers tomorrow. Now, daytime highs tomorrow should be in the low 50s for just about the entire region, from Casco Bay back to Sebago Lake. Low 50s for you, mid 50s down in York County. You'll see more in the way of some morning sun, so you're a little warmer. More clouds are expected during the morning from central Maine to mid-coast Maine. There'll be spots that have a hard time getting out of the upper 40s. And again, these are your daytime highs tomorrow, so it's going to be a cool one. Factor in the wind, it's going to feel even colder. Tomorrow up into central Maine, from Augusta to Waterville, even down to Lewis and Auburn area, Lisbon, some low 50s and upper 40s are expected. Spots in the mountains will stay in the upper 40s tomorrow as well. Now, the other big story is the wind. Now, the wind tomorrow is going to be out of the north, and it will gust 30 to 35 miles per hour. Our peak wind gust will be a little bit higher than that. And again, it comes right out of the north. There might be some scattered outages. I don't think it's going to be very widespread, but with wind like that, it's probably enough that some of the weaker branches, I could see some of the, maybe the weaker dead branches breaking, and you might get a few spots, get some outages. Either way, it's going to be windy tomorrow. We're tracking a few clouds mixing in with a clear sky tonight. I want to draw your attention to that little round of showers up into New Brunswick. That will be pivoting down into our region for tomorrow. So let's take a look at this on the storm tracker. We're seeing rain and snow showers in northern Maine. I think our greatest chance for getting a shower in southern and central Maine is probably from central Maine to over to mid-coast Maine, basically east of that line. There's a chance for a few scattered showers. There are the snow showers up in the presidential range tomorrow. Areas that start with sun will end the day with a lot of clouds. In fact, the afternoon looks mostly cloudy. And what you don't see in this map is that stiff north wind. It will gust 30 to 35 miles per hour. Look at that. The temps are in the low 50s. That's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's a solid 10 degrees cooler than our normal high of upper 50s to around 60. We're back there, though, on Friday. Friday's a nice day with lighter winds. We should be near 60 degrees. And the weekend looks really nice. I think we'll see a lot of sunshine on Saturday with highs in the low 60s. And that will be true on Sunday as well. Next weather maker moves in on Monday. There are some question marks on the timing of some of this rain. I think the wet weather gets in probably Monday morning, and a second area of low pressure will try to develop along that front, kind of like our winter storms. That should pull away, but I think there will be at least some scattered showers on Tuesday. Tuesday we'll get a break, and another little upper low where the front kind of dives into the region on Wednesday. So there probably will be some more showers Wednesday as well. Our greatest chance for some beneficial rain is probably Monday. It all depends on how quickly that storm system gets in here. So stay tuned as we get a little bit closer. And another round of showers looks likely on Wednesday of next week. So that's the way things look as far as the wet weather goes. But in the near term, tomorrow's just kind of windy and cool. And then it's bright and sunny for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Nice little stretches on the way for late week and weekend. Greg, over to you.
Yeah, nice bounce back for the weekend. Thank you, Charlie. Hey, quick reminder, you can always catch Charlie and the rest of our Weather Authority team even on the go. Just listen to these Portland radio stations for updated forecasts throughout your day. We now know the cause of death for actress Diane Keaton, as her family confirms she died from pneumonia. A friend telling People magazine that Keaton's health declined very suddenly, adding that her passing was so unexpected. In a statement, the Keaton family thanking fans for their extraordinary messages of love and support. They said donations to food banks or animal shelters would honor her memory. Dave's up next with sports. Falmouth and Gorham squaring off in high school field hockey tonight. The second quarter score that turned out to be the game winner. Next in sports.
Now, the Wallace Roofing Sports Report on CBS 13 with Dave Eade.
Good evening, everyone. The high school fall sports season is heading towards the home stretch with the playoffs just around the corner. Class A South Field Hockey showdown tonight in Falmouth. The Navs hosting Gorham. Second quarter, Rams up 1-0 off a penalty corner. Gorham's Grace Cunningham steps in and rifles one home, giving the Rams a 2-0 lead. And then just before halftime, Rams putting the heat on once again, but this time Falmouth keeper Avery Davis coming up with a nice stop here. The Rams, though, they would go on to get the win tonight. 5-1 was your final. The undefeated Chevrolet Stags hosting Massabesic. First quarter, Stags swarming on offense. Joey Pompeo sending a laser on net, but Elizabeth Boudreau with a spectacular kick save. Minutes later, and it's Pompeo again with a nice rush. This time, she'll send a sizzler into the back of the cage for a 1-0 Stags lead. Still in the first, Sydney Brunel will let it fly, and Brooke Brunel with the deflection in front as Chevrolet goes to 10, stays undefeated with a 10-0 win. Girls high school soccer undefeated Richmond hosting Temple Academy. Bobcats scoring an amazing 71 goals so far this season in 8-person South first half. And here come the Bobcats. Sophomore Aubrey Swift with a beautiful goal here, giving Richmond a 1-0 lead. Aubrey with 2 scores today. Still in the first, Cats would strike again. This time, Brooke Fournier is going top shelf with the goal. She had 2 as well, as Richmond goes to 13-0 with a 4-1 win. Boys high school soccer, Waynfleet hosting Shakopee Valley early in the first. Flyers on the attack. Owen Duda fires one on net, but freshman keeper Tanner Hale coming up with a beautiful stop. Later in the first, now Waynfleet's Noah Bayer finding Max Wilson, who heads it home, giving Waynfleet a 1-0 lead. Flyers would roll to a 5-0 win. Well, the first place New England Patriots will be looking for a 4th straight win Sunday afternoon when the Pats head to Nashville to battle the Titans. The Patriots returning to the practice field today after a couple of well-deserved days off. Pats are coming off a hard-fought road win over the Saints last Sunday. They're undefeated on the road so far this season, and they're hoping to keep it going this Sunday.
We're not trying to win one for the Gipper here. We're just trying to make sure that these guys are focused on improving, and I think that they are. I think they're locked in.
It's a challenge for us to go keep proving it, week in and week out, and that's what has been our main focus of, keep going and ignore the noise and know that, you keep playing like this and we'll have a real shot, once time, the playoffs come, but that's a long way away, so just attack it 1 week at a time.
All right, Celtics playing their preseason finale at the Garden tonight, hosting Toronto. First quarter, Celtics up 11 off the miss. Jaylen Brown takes it up court, and he's in some pain, so he would leave the game. We'll have to wait and see about that. But with just seconds to go, this is Xavier Tillman with the game winner. Celtics win 110-108. Game 3 of the ALCS tonight. Toronto and Seattle. That is the big unit. Randy Johnson throwing out the first pitch. Jays were sleepless in Seattle. Top 3 down 2-0. Andreas Jimenez with a 2-run shot to right, tying the game at 2. Jays packing their lumber tonight. George Springer going deep to center. Vlad Jr. also with a home run as Toronto wins a must game, really. 13-4, your final. They still trail in the series 2-1. But, Greg, boy, they really needed that one tonight.
Yeah, making the series there, it looks like.
Let's see if the Brewers can do the same.
I'd like that.
When they head to Chavez Ravine.
That's right. See if they can extend it against the Dodgers. Yeah. Probably not, but we'll see.
Right.
Still ahead after the break. Giving residents in Bangor a reason to stop and smell the flowers. The random act of kindness designed to give folks something to smile about. Hey, finally tonight, folks, all smiles today in Bangor thanks to some unexpected acts of kindness. Bangor Floral there in West Market Square in Bangor handing out 2 flowers to folks who are passing by, one for them to keep and one for them to give to somebody else. They're called the Random Act of Kindness, Pedal It Forward. That's what they're doing, and it's meant to give people to get their day started with some more smiles, less stress. Great message. This is the 4th year, by the way, they've had this event up there. The store manager calls it really the happiest day of the year for them.
I love the people's reactions. I love seeing them smile. I've had people hug me. I've had people start to cry. It's just the best feeling ever.
Yes, it's a great way to start your day, right? Pedal It Forward is organized, by the way, by the Society for American Florists. So there you go. I like that. You get 2 flowers, you keep one, give the other one away.
Who wouldn't like a nice,
Absolutely. See somebody
flower?
Yeah.
And you could also pass that forward.
Exactly.
Yeah. We could do that down here. We
could.
We could do it with like ice cream sandwiches or something.
I'd like that too.
I was actually thinking peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
That would be good too.
Right around noontime.
Yours would probably last longer. Yours yeah. You got to move fast if it's ice cream. So
exactly, and you know we're in the season we're in the season of Halloween candy,
yeah,
so we'll cut back on.
I was going to say I think the ice cream sandwich may last longer tomorrow though.
I was thinking that too. Hey, tonight we're in the 30s for lows. Tomorrow we're in the low 50s for highs. So tomorrow's kind of chilly, certainly by mid-October standards. I think the bigger weather story will be the wind tomorrow. The wind tomorrow will gust 30 to 35 miles per hour. We're back near 60 on Friday and Saturday. It looks really nice Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Maybe we'll be doing some raking wherever falls tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, there'll be a lot of leaf drop tomorrow with that wind.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you later.